Every day, you obey hundreds of invisible rules. Nobody voted for them. Nobody enforces them. So why do we all follow them? Think about your day so far. You probably greeted someone, waited for your turn to speak, said thank you after someone helped you. Maybe you lowered your voice in a quiet place without anyone asking. You probably stood facing the door in an elevator. You almost certainly wore clothes before stepping outside. But here's the strange part. Who actually made these rules? Not the government, not the police, not even your parents. Yet almost every human follows them as if they're written into the laws of the universe. Why? The answer begins long before cities, schools, or even written language. Imagine you're one of the first humans living in a small group thousands of years ago. There are no laws, no judges, no prisons, but there is one problem. You can't survive alone. Humans were never the strongest animals. We weren't the fastest. We didn't have claws or massive teeth. Our greatest advantage was something else. We worked together, and working together required something incredibly important: predictability. You needed to know that the person beside you wouldn't suddenly steal your food, that your group would help if you were injured, that people would share, cooperate, and trust each other. Without those expectations, every day would feel dangerous. So, little by little, humans began repeating behaviors that made life smoother, not because anyone ordered them to, because they worked. And something fascinating happened. The behaviors that helped groups survive were repeated over and over again. Then, parents taught them to children. Children grew up and taught them to their own children, generation after generation, until eventually nobody remembered where they started. They just became normal. But here's where it gets even stranger. Many of these invisible rules are completely different depending on where you were born. In some countries, making direct eye contact shows confidence. In others, it can be seen as disrespectful. Some cultures greet with a handshake, others bow, some kiss on the cheek, some remove their shoes before entering a home, others don't. If these rules were natural, everyone would follow the same ones, but they don't. That means many of the things you think are just common sense are actually habits your society quietly handed to you, and you accepted them without ever noticing. Now, here's the question that changes everything. Why do you still follow these rules when nobody is watching? Imagine you're walking alone late at night. There's nobody around. You see a queue barrier that everyone is supposed to follow. You could simply walk around it. Most people don't, not because they're afraid of getting caught, because breaking the rule feels wrong. That's the power of social norms. Over time, your brain learns that fitting in is rewarding, while standing out can be uncomfortable. For our ancestors, being rejected by the group wasn't just embarrassing, it could mean death. A person separated from the group had fewer chances of finding food, staying safe, or raising children. So our brains evolved to care deeply about belonging. Even today, thousands of years later, that instinct is still with us. That's why you clap when everyone else claps, why you whisper in a library, why you instinctively wait your turn in a conversation. Nobody has to force you. Your brain has already done the work. But here's the most surprising part of all. Many of the rules you follow today don't exist because they're the best way to do things. They exist because millions of people before you kept repeating them. Some traditions disappear, others survive for centuries, and eventually they become invisible. You stop seeing them as choices. You start seeing them as reality. That's why this channel exists, because almost everything you think is normal has a beginning. Someone started it, a culture shaped it, history preserved it, and time made everyone forget where it came from. So the next time you catch yourself doing something that feels completely ordinary, stop for a second and ask yourself one question. Who decided this? You might be surprised by how often the answer is nobody. And that's exactly where the story begins.